Hi, in this lesson, I want to explain to you the idea of using logic when picking the correct answer. Let's look at this question right here. What is the author's attitude toward transgression mentioned in line 12? And here's the set of answers. Now, even if you have not read the passage, in inspecting the answer choices, you would not pick B. Can you guess why? I want you to pause the video now and think about it. Why would you not pick B? Okay, here's the answer. If you did choose B, vehement opposition, you are actually automatically choosing D, disapproval, because vehement opposition does mean disapproval. So we kind of cheated our way through, much like in physics problems where we ignore friction. I want you to be careful about using this as a primary method for choosing the correct answer. At no point am I recommending that you do not read the passage. That's not the point. The point is to use logical sense before finalizing your answer. Bear in mind, there is a difference between logic and common sense. Logic shows that an answer must be true, while common sense shows that an answer is probably true. This brings me to my second point on common sense. It is common sense to assume that the writers will be writing on subjects they care about, or at least they'll pretend to care about the subject that they're writing, because they're the ones writing it. So using common sense, you might want to eliminate dismissiveness as well. But be careful. Check with the passage because it is probably true, but not necessarily so. So logical elimination with quick passage checks are very helpful guide as to what your final answer should be. I have a question for you. Can you write precisely on, say, the history of European political reform in 500 words? You probably can't because it's too much to write. So when answering the general purpose questions, use common sense to eliminate unreasonable or petty purposes. Let's go ahead and look at this one here. Which of the following best expresses the purpose of the passage as a whole? The first choice, to describe the relationship between literature and history. It's too big a task for 500-word essay, so you want to eliminate this. To belittle modern literary critics, possible, but that seems petty. To refute a misconception, very possible and worthwhile, so let's keep this one. To delineate a new mode of literary analysis, it's too big a task, again, for a 500-word essay. To suggest several remedies for a problem, very possible, we can keep this. So to sum it up, logic shows what must be true given a set of assumptions, and you can use logic to help you decide on the final answer. And common sense can show that some of the answers is probably true, but in both the cases, you must check back with the passage to finalize on your answer. And in both cases, you must check back with the passage to finalize the answer. You want to avoid the choices that are true but incorrect. Too often, students make the mistake of choosing the answer that makes a true statement but does not answer the question correctly. How can that be? Imagine that you have read a passage written by an art critic praising the museum that has been harshly criticized by others. The passage acknowledges certain flaws in the planning and design of the building, but on the whole, it praises the building for its innovations. And then you read a question like this. The author uses the term monstrosity in line 4 primarily in order to. And looking back at line 4, you read, they could not understand how such monstrosity could have been erected under their noses. When you look at the passage as a whole, you see that the author in different places justifies the building of the museum. He expresses his dismay on the decisions of certain critics and planners. He praises the museum for innovation, and you have a hard time deciding which one is it. Is it A? Yeah, because that's in the passage. Is it B? Because certainly there were opinions of certain critics was mentioned in the passage, and he did express his dismay about the certain decisions made. Certainly, he did disparage the work of certain architects, and he did praise the museum for its innovative design. I want you to read the question carefully. It's asking why the author uses the term monstrosity. Does the author think that the museum is a monstrosity? The author doesn't think the museum is a monstrosity because the passage as a whole praises the museum. So the sentence in line 4 says that they, which means other critics, thought that it was a monstrosity. Therefore, this word is being used to characterize the opinion of certain critics, and the answer is B. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you in my next video, and we will practice some of the strategies we've learned. Goodbye.